Good evening and welcome back to the Final Flight podcast. Lads, we're back. It's another jump season. We're ready to rock and roll. This is the jump season kickoff. Lads, I'll come to you first, Rich. How are you, mate?
Tired, but it is good to be back.
It certainly is, mate. Joe, you're obviously down south somewhere. How are you feeling? Are you ready to get stuck into a new season? It feels good to be back, doesn't it, to be fair?
Yeah, 100%, mate. After seeing, a couple of jumps, not big ones, but a couple of jumps meetings, and the flats come to an end, the arc's done, that sort of it now. I think I'm fully converted. Let's say I am a jumps man, and I cannot wait for Chepstow.
It's music to my ears to hear you. I want to hear you say, let's put the flat in the bin. It's to be fair.
No, it is. Do you know what? I did enjoy it, but I was saying to Rich, I think it gets a bit. What it is for me, when the jumps horses are coming round the bend and two horses are going for it, and there's no excuses. It's whoever jumps the best and whoever gets up the best. I feel sometimes the flat, if the best horse a lot of the time doesn't win the race, it might be not getting the path through, stuck on the bend. The jockeys move the whip in the wrong hand. So there's a lot of talk around that. I feel like the jumps is just grit, determination. Get your horse to the line.
I love your enthusiasm about it, mate. I mean, we're obviously kicking the jump season off. Chepstow at the weekend. It's been great. Rich, you're obviously diehard flat. It's been an all right season. I think it's a bit of a weird one. I think the flats. It's a little bit like I feel like everything happens at the start or towards the beginning, and then it kind of peters off a little bit. It kind of jumps its opposite way around. Maybe takes a bit of time to get going, and then gets towards big stuff towards the end. What do you think on that point? Are you fully jumps now? Have you forgot the flat now?
Not fully jumps, but yeah, it's been a tough
80-20%, you think? What do you think?
60-40 probably. It's been a tough season out on the flat. I must admit, it's not been one of the most enjoyable, but I'm not gonna abandon it just yet. We'll give it another go next year.
That's fair enough, mate. Well, like I say, into the jump season now. Thank you everyone for coming in and joining us on this show. What we thought we'd do on this show is kind of just a little bit of a soft opening, a little bit of a soft kickoff. Talk about our plans, maybe have a little bit of a chat about the season that's just been and what's to come, things like that, and maybe a couple of horses to follow and stuff like that. So, first of all, what I'll do is we're going to go straight into what our plans are for the new season. Obviously, those of you who will follow us all on Twitter, they'll see some of the posts we've been putting up there. We're obviously going to have the Thursday night previews, the weekend previews, which will be pretty much every single week live at 7:45. So they're the bumper shows where all the winners are going to come from, aren't they, lads? You're looking forward to the weekend previews. I know, I can't wait to get stuck into Chepstow. I mean, Rich, there'll be some odds-on shot for the Persian War, no doubt. We'll be at a lump job that. We'll chat for that about that in a little bit. What else is there going to be? So obviously there's going to be the return of the Cheltenham Festival Countdown show. Now that is going to be the first show. Is going to be on the Monday, the 4th of November, for everyone who's obviously listening. And I think we've decided we're going to do them every other week this time round. We thought we started it a little bit early last season. I know there's a lot of people on Twitter and stuff that like to get the Cheltenham chat out already, and it's a bit crazy. I mean, I've seen conversations about Triumph hurdles in September. It does get the juices flowing a little bit, but it's a bit crazy. But yeah, I think the Cheltenham Anti-Post show is the one that we loved doing last year, didn't we, lads? I mean, we got the jockeys on. And luckily, we were well supported in that department. And I think we're hoping to get them on again this year. Hopefully, a couple of different ones, maybe a few returning ones. So we'll see how that goes. But that'll be focused on quality over quantity, won't it, Rich? So I'm sure. You had one fantastic winner last year, didn't you? That were it 33-1.
So you made, yes, that's our story. The only winner in my team.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you'll do. Obviously, you finished pretty much. I don't know if you were even or maybe just about up on that. I mean, that's all it needs at the end of the day sometimes. Joe, you obviously had your captain El Fabiolo last season. That was an absolute diabolical pick. And then
Langadan, though.
You what?
Langadan, though.
Yep, obviously Langadan. And when we had Harry Skelton on the show, and he obviously joked, "What was your nap?" And he's like, "Langadan." He's like, "No, I'm kidding." And you just saw that little twinkle in his eye, didn't he? I know he gave you that little bit of celebration on the day when he saw you, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great show. I think we'll hopefully get plenty of Cheltenham chat going on, and I'm looking forward to those shows. Certainly am indeed. Right, what else is there? So that's it really for the plans. Just like I say, we'll try and bring the winners and the anti-post selections, and hopefully our team do as well as they did last year, if not better. And we'll see how they go. Right, on to the next part. So a little bit of chat on last season. Well, a couple of changes obviously have happened is the main thing. I mean, I think the only place to start really is one of the big talking points that we've already had so far, and that's these changes to the Cheltenham Festival. Now, obviously, there might be some, what shall I say, thoughts on either side within this group of the three of us. I'll come to you first, Rich. If I can, we've obviously had some conversations over this. I mean, we'll start in the one place to start, and that's obviously the Turners Grade 1 is now been scrapped and is being replaced by the 2.5 mile handicap chase, 2 mile handicap novice chase. Sorry, a Grade 2 handicap chase, should I say, over the same distance. And you're not too happy about this, are you, mate? Can you tell us why and what are your thoughts on it?
I just don't agree with scrapping a graded race and replacing it with a handicap. Personally, I just don't see why you do that on the biggest jumps meeting of the year. Personally, that's just my view.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, I mean, we'll go through the other changes in a minute, but it's almost like the damned if they do, damned if they don't. A lot of people kicking off about small fields, short price favourites. We need to somehow narrow the field in terms of options for the top horses. And I think, I mean, to me, I'm kind of all for it in a way. I mean, obviously, nobody wants to see loads of handicaps, but it's kind of like, well, they're not going to get rid of the day, are they? They're not going to go back to 3 days, is what everyone would probably want. So the only other option, really, Joe's having a nightmare already. It's only day one of the Chuffing podcast, and he can't get it connected. This is what the joys of him working away, but he'll soldier on. Yeah, it's just one of them. I mean, I think, would everyone be moaning if we had Ballyburn 4-7 from October all the way to March, and then he just wins? You know what does that do for us in terms of the best week of the year? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't really do much, does it?
You get to see the best horse win a Grade 1 over his ideal fit.
We get to see him do that all year long. We don't want it to be a walkover on the big week. Do you know what I mean? I get what they're trying to do, but I don't really know how else they go about doing it. I mean, at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is force Willie Mullins to run a couple more of his own against each other out, because he's going to win it no matter what. What do you think on it, Joe? Anyway, we've not really heard much from you on the WhatsApps.
No, I don't like it, to be honest, because I think you've seen last season at Cheltenham, you know, you had Langer Dan in a handicap who went to Aintree and, you know, proved that he sort of is at graded level. And I just think you're going to get a lot more handicap plots. And the way they look at it, it's more competitive racing, which it is in a way. But I just think, you know, when you have Champions Day at Ascot and it's the last day of the sort of the English calendar. I know we mentioned the flat, but it's like the big sign off, you know, that is the week where everyone comes over from France, wherever. I just think you're taking that Grade 1 away for a handicap. And I don't think you're going to get much back from it. I think all you'll get is them graded horses sort of getting pulled back all year to get a lower mark to go and try and win the race. I can see both sides of the argument, don't get me wrong, but I just think the race wasn't broken. We've seen some good winners the past few years in that race. You know, just don't mess around with it too much. You know, you have all the talk all the time about, you know, extending it to another day or whatever. You know, sometimes if it's not broke, don't fix it. Do you know, that's my stance on it anyway. But on that race,
I suppose, I mean, a lot of people would say it is a little bit broken because we are getting short price. I mean, the Brown advisory was a shocking spectacle at the last one, so I kind of get what they're trying to do. I mean, also don't forget one of the other changes is that chasers have to have at least 4 runs to qualify for the race, and novice hurdlers is another 5 now, so they've added 1 extra. So you're sort of saying, well, are they gonna take a graded horse and hang him out back of 4 races just to win the one at Cheltenham?
I completely get that. But when you've got Willie Mullins, who's got 150 brilliant horses in the yard, you've got the Skeltons who probably have a graded and a handicapper in there, or, you know, you've got Willie's probably looking at that race going, which one do I pick out of 5 to pull up all season, or even not, sort of, what would you say, fully expose himself, keep him exposed. Doesn't mean pull him up. He can win 2-0 races, and then he'll send one out in Ireland and win the race with 1, and his handicap plot can maybe finish 4th with Patrick on or something. Or do you know what I'm getting at? Willie's sort of got a stack of horses throughout all the year, which he'll have some aimed for Cheltenham, some aimed for Punchestown, some aimed for DRF. Obviously he'll have the horses who are like DRF, Cheltenham, whatever. But he'll have the horses for other meetings too, which he might go, right, do you know what? We'll take that one to Cheltenham because he's better than these and his mark's not as high. Like I say, I get both points of the argument. They can't win, really. We'll see on the day. Fingers crossed we get a competitive race, a good finish, and, you can get a decent priced winner. But, I just worry that we'll still get an odds-on Mullins shot who hasn't sort of won all season and is in JP colours or, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it all boils down to it, I mean, Rich, you've used the flat as a bit of a counter argument with this, Royal Ascot and all this, and I just think jumps racing hasn't got enough Grade 1 level horses to fill these races. I mean, we're going about what Ruby. I know. Oh well, he's paid by Racing TV, so he's obviously going to be positive about it. But he got it right. But there's not enough novices to fill the races, especially the chases. When you've got, I mean, they've changed the National Hunt Chase as well. I'm surprised they didn't fully change it back to what it were originally. I mean, now they're letting the professional jockeys riding it instead of amateurs. I think that was probably a bit of an error. I wouldn't have done that. I'd have kept it as what it was before. But they're obviously they're obviously seeing the Browns last year and hoping that that's what happens, and we'll see if it does or don't. Like I say, time will tell, and proof will be in the big week in March. But I mean, I've seen a few people sort of saying, "Oh, it's going to be rubbish," blah blah. I thought, well, everyone's build up to Cheltenham is going to be exactly the same as it's always been. Everyone will be talking about it all day, every day on Twitter. And when it comes to the week, we'll all be having a bet in every race, and nobody's going to be doing it different. That's what I think. You're only shaking your head because you're trying to be stubborn with me because you think I'm not going to bet in that race. So that you're definitely having a bet, and we've got to try and find the hidden gems. That's what it's all about.
Let's just think about it. The changes, I just don't get it. Like the price.
If it doesn't work, they can always change it again, can't they? In another year's time.
You're paying the same money for less grade races and more handicaps. I just don't see how that is good value. And people aren't going because of they're seeing Ballyburn win at 4-7 on. It's because they're paying £9 for a pint and hotels £300 for a couple of days. It's not the racing per se. And I mean, if you look at the last 8 years, the average.
Oh, don't you bring that average out when it's not right? Don't you be throwing non-right facts out?
Over the last 8 years, you take all the graded races. I mean, if you take the Champion Chase average of 8, every single graded race.
But that's not a novice race, though, is it? The Champion Chase isn't a novice race.
Okay, the Turners average over the last 8 years, average runners have been 9. Browns 9.
I don't think that's correct. I don't think that's correct.
It's 100% correct. 9 runners in a.
All right, well, grade. What was the Brown Advisory Field last year?
6. You've got 6, 10, 9.
What was the
6,
what was
10,
the what was 12. The field size? What was the field size when Galloping Deschamps fell in Turners?
You're taking one race, one example over the last 8 years.
You're going back and using races from there. If you look at what it's been like the last 3 or 4 years, it ain't really good. But I suppose the argument for that is.
But there was 11 runners.
We haven't got enough good horses.
No, 11 runners last year in the Turners.
Sorry, mate. Say that again. I didn't hear you.
11 runners in the Turners last festival.
Oh yeah, it's all right for Turner, yeah, but you might get one of them that's good, and then other ones are rubbish. It's you need to find the balance, don't you?
Brown Advisory 2023 10 runners.
Can I just sort of butt in a second? I get both sides, but my argument is that everyone sort of gets wind of that one horse from Willie's or Gordon's or mainly from Ireland that's well in with a handicapper or Skelton. My worry is that a lot of people or a lot of owners / trainers will look straight away and go, right, Willie's saving that one for that race. We'll go to Haydock. We'll go somewhere else instead.
But I don't think.
But I agree with your point, James, in terms of, yeah, give it a go. But the only thing I do hope is if it doesn't work, that they correct it. But I think this jump season hasn't even started yet. Enjoy it. If it isn't right, it's one race out of a full year. Like, in the grand scheme of things, if, I don't know, one race at Royal Ascot changed for a handicap, no one would be going mad in, whenever when the jump season started, before it's even started. I think, personally, whether you agree or disagree, enjoy it. And if it doesn't work, hopefully they address it anyway, and say, well, it was positive, that was negative. But yeah, to be fair, I think you could go around in circles. I can see points from both sides. Like I say, I just hope the sort of true with it, when the race comes, if you do have a field of 6 and Willie Mullins has a 1 or 2 in there and it absolutely bolts up, then you look and you think, well, just change it.
Yeah, I think, like you say, we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes, and hopefully we can see an improvement over the course of a season. Because like what they said in that video, they're trying to improve racing throughout the year as well. Like the change they did to Pertemps, I thought was quite good. So it should make the qualifiers a little bit more competitive. If you're definitely getting in if you win one and things like that. So
Yeah,
cross country becoming
those types of changes I would completely agree with, but I just don't think you should be removing graded races out of a big meeting.
So if they'd have removed a full day, would you have been unhappy then?
No, that's what I think they should have done. Got rid of the day.
But that's getting rid of more than one grade 1. That.
Well, no, you move that to another day and scrap a couple of handicaps.
What do you mean? Move. Get rid of no. Cause you can't move it to another day, can you? They won't do that, will they?
Why not?
Anyway, I know what you mean. I think it'll be all right.
Why don't we rearrange the Cheltenham Festival?
It's like in its biggest week of the year. People want it to be competitive. I think there's a feeling that it hasn't been that competitive in the top races. But again, even if they didn't change or if even if they changed it perfect for everyone, I still don't think there's enough horses. There's not. I mean, Willie's obviously the Willie machine is what it is. He's the best by a mile, and he's got the most horses. So it's like, well, what? He's going to have horses for every race. What stopped people going for it? Because it's Cheltenham, but we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens.
It's nearly a 50-50 split now between handicaps and graded races at that meeting.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all right saying that, but they obviously changed it from 3 days to 4 days, so they're adding races in. They just want races. They're not bothered about what else are they? But we haven't got enough horses to have more Grade 1 races. So even if they kept the turns and they say, right, well, let's make another 2 Grade 1s, and then you could say, oh, well, we'll charge everyone another 40 quid because you're getting more Grade 1s. But the Grade 1s, they're not really, are they? They're just Grade 1 by name, unfortunately. But, I mean, Ballyburn, we'll move on to the next sort of section. We're going to talk about just a few little divisions, but we'll start with like Ballyburn, for example. He'd have probably had one novice chase debut, bolted up on bridle. Evens are odds on for Turners. Now the question is, does he go Arkle or does he go Browns? What do you think? Probably an Arkle, maybe.
I don't think he wins now at Cheltenham.
What? No.
I don't think he wins an Arkle. I don't think he wins a Browns.
You don't think he wins a Grade 2 handicap?
No, he won't.
Sorry, you don't.
He'll have to go in either the Arkle or the Browns.
Sorry, I think he'd win both.
No, I don't think he will.
They
might even skip and just go straight to Aintree for the 2.5.
Oh dear! You got to remember, nearly all of the Turners horses start over 2 mile anyway. So I think he'll be able to handle it. I think he's got the gears. He's probably got the stamina to win a Browns. I mean, if you want to be a Gold Cup, used to be if you had a Gold Cup horse, you go for Browns. You know what I mean? But then they thought, oh, let's add this little tootle around 2.5 miler for the classy horses to go in, and that's what they've tried to do. Now
It'll
it's
be
just
quite interesting to see what
and now it's
Factor
basically
5
like
is.
it's not even a grade one. It's like a stepping stone for Gold Cup.
Factor
Yeah,
5 goes Gold Cup. I'm hoping Marshborough goes to the Browns. I'm a huge fan.
do you think they'll even test him much? I mean, he won't triumph, didn't he? That's him who won't triumph.
Yeah.
Quite a young horse. They might not
Yeah, he's still too
push him
young.
too hard. You know, he's only young.
No, I completely agree, but I just think there's that bit of class. He's so big already, and if you watch Cheltenham back, he didn't really pick up. He just kept galloping, and the way Willie said straight after he's it's massive. He will be a staying chaser, and I just thought to be thinking that straight after a triumph hurdle, he was massive anyway. And I said to my cousin, I said to my cousin before the race, Josh, I said he'll be a chaser next year, but I wouldn't back him for this. And he didn't hear me properly, and he backed him, and I didn't back him. I backed Nürburgring each way, and he jumped around buzzing that he'd won. I was sick, but yeah, I do hope he goes.
Yeah, I don't know. My only worry would be, I mean, you look what Willie did with Lossiemouth when she won the Triumph. He really looked after her, didn't he, and brought her on slowly. I think, obviously, then she went and won the Mare's race, but chasing's difficult. But we'll see. It's definitely a talented horse, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they do with him. I'll just quickly swing back. Constitution Hill is a big talking point, and I think we need to think about this. Question is, they've obviously found an issue. He's now had a breathing operation. He's had a wind up. The big question mark is, will he come back to the full talent that we know he had previous to the issues? Joe, I'll swing to you first, mate. What do you think? Con Hill, is he going to come back like he was? The aeroplane that he was? What do you think?
Do you know what I was saying to Rich today? Was it Lucia that finished second or third? Third,
I think. Yeah,
beating about 4 lengths. Nicky come out after, and no one can argue with that statement that Con Hill wouldn't really even need to be 70% fit to have won that champion hurdle that year. But I think fitness is one thing, but I think a lot of people underestimate, like the mentality side of it with a horse, being injured and out for so long. If you're a footballer or a rugby player or a sportsman and you injure yourself and you're out for a year, you're always pretty cautious. When you're a horse and you jump in and you run in at that speed, you don't know what it can do mentally to the horse. I think Nicky will be very cautious. We already know what he's like with his horses anyway. I think if they can't get him back to full fitness, I think Nicky would do the right thing. I think if he's there on the day, he wins. I think you'll probably see at Newcastle, won't you? Where he starts his season normally. If he goes there and wins, I think you'll probably see 1 to 2 straight away from your bookies. I think even if he's entered into the race, I think you'll see a massive shift. It is tough, but I can't really see anything emerging massively. Like I say, he's definitely an unbelievable horse, and I think if they get him anywhere near, hopefully they do. But it's hard to say it this early on, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the fighting fifth. I mean, I'm not sure what sort of race it's going to be now that the likes of Not So Sleepy has been retired and stuff like that. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Willie maybe send something over just to. I mean, if it were me and our Willie Mullins, I'd be sending something to fighting fifth to give Constitution Hill an hard race, or the hardest race I could probably give him, to see what he's got left. I mean, Rich, horses have had breathing operations, wind ups, and come back fine. We see it all the time, don't we? First run, second run after a wind up, and suddenly they've got this extra gear. You what?
Clondor for Greenall.
Yeah, look at that. Look at Clondor. Clondor the other day, whatever it was, 12-1 or something, breathing operation, come out and won, but then you get ones that it just don't work. So then you think, well, if he's had some sort of issue and they've only just found out, and he's done all what he's done with potentially an issue underneath the surface, I mean, if he's one of them that it improves him, chuffing hell. I mean, what do we do then, Rich? I mean, what gets near him if he comes back to his best?
I mean, the fighting fist's not going to be any sort of contest, is it? It's just going to be a jog round.
So Willie needs to send something or anything.
I mean, yeah,
Like
if I was
what?
Willie Mullins, the only chance you probably got is to send something over to properly test him. Otherwise, he's just going to have a jog round. He's going to build that confidence back up, win it, fight a fifth, win at Kempton, is it, for the Christmas hurdle? And that's normally the route. And then on to Cheltenham. I think if he gets a couple of runs on his belt, I think he'll. I just think he'll win, won't he? I mean, every horse has an issue now and again. Obviously, his was heightened because of we all saw the video before Cheltenham, and then he's had a wind up. But all the signs are positive, and I'm going to stay on the bandwagon until I see him fail.
Yeah, I mean, obviously people are backing him at sort of 7-4. They've probably been on at 5-2 previous, but as it gets closer and closer, it kind of goes a bit shorter and shorter.
Could be a right price if he comes back.
Well, yeah, if he comes back in fighting fifth, like Joe said there, and he just wins as he likes or whatever, it'll be very, very short, very quickly. So,
just asking, lads, if you had money there now, I think a lot of people are looking at it. 7-4, you need to put a fair bit of money on as a single. Would you be backing him now? Because I wouldn't touch him. I think there's a lot better, and you'll get a lot better 7-4 shots along the way of the season than Conhill for 6-7 months' time.
Yeah, I mean, he's short enough now. I think everyone's probably had a little bit on him by now. Yeah, I'd probably rather put my money on something like Teopu. Teopu's like 5-2 still for stayers. I mean, that is an absolute banker for me. He wins that. He'll win that Hatton's Grace again, and then he'll be put away all year just to win that race as well. I know the French LM might come back, but I can't have French horses coming over. We'll talk about that again in a bit. But yeah, I think if you've had a bet on Constitution, he'll probably already got it on. I won't be putting it on now. I'd just wait now and just see what he does. Not really a betting proposition, is it? Another one of them pesky odds on favourites soon at Cheltenham Festival. Great, isn't it?
Let's make it a handicap.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, wouldn't it? I mean, I don't know how much weight Constitution he'll have to give away. Like, be plenty, wouldn't it?
Conhill off 110 as he's been pulled up all season, and Nicky said he can't get back to full fitness.
He's dropped down to a mark of 145. Just gets in top weight.
Rated the same as making headway.
I suppose the other novice, I mean, I don't know what they're doing with. I mean, Sergino's one that I wanted to mention. I mean, that to me is an absolute weapon. I don't know whether they're going to stay over hurdles or go chasing with him or what.
Hasn't Nicky said that he's on standby in case Constitution Hill?
It would not surprise me if Constitution Hill just dies off or blows up or whatever. I mean, Sergino, I love that horse. I think he's got it. You know what I mean? Maybe not quite Constitution Hill level yet, but he could reach up there. And if he's the standing, it'd be a decent chance.
Same owners though. Would the one State Man and Sergino same race?
Well, that's another question. Same owners, different trainers.
Depends on
what do you do there? That's well. Would you run them against each other? Well, they'd have to, wouldn't they? It's two different trainers, isn't it? What other races are there to go for?
I can get the side of the Arkle and stuff. I can probably see Nicky's side as well, that he wants his best chance of winning the champion hurdle, but I think he'll go chasing. Nicky mentioned the Arkle, didn't he, at the end of last season anyway. I think 2 miles will be perfect. I think he's a weapon as well, James, to be honest.
I was gutted about Sergino. He'd have won that triumph, don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, he would have. And he wasn't fully fit at Aintree either. When I watched him there...
He had the issues, didn't he? He pulled them all out, didn't he? Pulled out off out, didn't he? Which was a shame.
Yeah, and then he went to Aintree 11-8, and he won easy then, and you could tell he wasn't fully fit either. That was just... I think it was... Was it Nicky's only winner that week? I think it was.
Yeah.
He didn't,
so at the end of the week, he just pulled out a lot out, didn't he?
He didn't have many at all, and the ones he did have were all like sort of handicappers that I think he probably left in to get the mark down. But in terms of graded race, he hardly had any in, and you could tell by the price because if Sergino had a proper campaign, there was no way he was going off 11 to 8. I think he drifted to 6 to 4 as well, and then the money come at the end just before the off. He won pretty comfortably, but I agree there. I think Sergino will take another massive step on next season or this season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the only other one I'm going to mention is obviously Brighter Days Ahead is another one that's kind of drawing up a lot of conversation. If Gordo's going to send her Chase in, does she go for the Mare's Chase or does he chuck her in for the Browns? Mare's Chase, another race that probably should bin off because that's just a load of rubbish. But I don't mind Mare's Hurdle, but I think Mare's Chase, I don't know. It's one of them, innit? Brighter Days Ahead. I mean, she looks an absolute tank.
How did she get beat at Cheltenham? I was all over her. I think I got on at 4 to 1. How on earth did they get that wrong? They went a crawl and let a flat horse, Golden Ace, or a flatbred horse, bloody
Just a
breeze
speedy time.
I know, and then Larkin obviously gave it on the podcast, didn't he? And I felt like a right idiot because I didn't play saver because I never thought anything of it. I never thought they'd go 10 mile an hour around Cheltenham and then sprint the last 2 furlongs. Oh my God!
What was the Mullins? Jade the Grugia, wasn't it? The other one, they both kind of got done for toe, didn't they? It was a bad race, that.
And then, it was horrendous. And then, obviously, she comes out again and wins. And then she absolutely tanks up at Aintree. And you're thinking, what went on at Cheltenham? I don't. To be fair, she didn't have many runs. She was a pretty keen horse anyway, wasn't she? I think she needed someone to take her there. But you'd have let her stride on a few anyway. She'd won over 2 mile 4. But you live and you learn. I think she'll be a lot better next season as well. I'd take her out the Mares division and I'd try and, if she goes chasing, I'd try and throw her against the boys or something. I think she could be special. But then again, they might try and mind her for another year just against the Mares and get her sort of fully fit and that extra year stronger, a bit more, bit more hustle bustle with her in the champion races and then take her thereafter.
Yeah, I think if the Turners was still a Grade 1, they might have gone for that. But I don't know if they'll go for Browns. It might be a bit too much of a stretch for the.
So we've
had the Mare's Chase is 2.5 mile, isn't it?
So have we mentioned 4 horses tonight, and 2 horses could have gone to the Turners. Yeah, and now they're off somewhere else.
The only thing, hang on. I mean, it's good that the male horse can't go for the Turners, has to go in the Arkle or the Browns. I mean, it's a bit different for Mares, isn't it? But I mean, she gets £7.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So if she is good enough, she's got there. But then you look and you think, Willie Minded, Lossy Mouth, is Gordon just, if you think that much about the horse, are they gonna mind her for just that one other year and let her progress into herself? Depends what she's like. She might love the hustle and bustle. She might not want that. She might be too keen, Next year, if she's against the boys, they might think she's not fully grown up and mentally yet. You just don't know, do you?
No, I mean, I saw a little clip of her on Twitter, and she's just massive. She's big enough to do it. Whether they do it, I don't know. We'll see. I know that Jade the Gruge, I think they might be tempted with chasing with her. I know the Honeysuckle, what's it called? I forgot the owner's name now. He's got a couple of others in there, Anti-Cargeezy and things like that for Mare's Hurdle and stuff. So there might be a bit of a Mare's Chase battle if she goes that way, but we shall see what happens, lads. What else are we going to mention? So a quick mention of, let's go for chasing division. So we've obviously got a lot of big races throughout the year, mainly the King George and the Gold Cup, obviously. Question to you both is, you've got Galopin de Champ is going to have a pretty tasty race on his hand this time round. Can he win another Gold Cup?
No.
Are you on Factor File, Joe? Are you going to stick with him all year? What do you reckon?
I don't know. Obviously, Ruby and that wax lyrical about Factor File, didn't there? And he was about 7 to 4 the week before. And I think everyone within the Mullins camp or knew the Mullins camp mentioned him. And before you know it, he's 8 to 11. I do think he's very talented. I just think Galopin de Champs has been some horse, and this is not me writing him off or nothing like that, but I just think, was it Gordon Elliott's, what was Gordon Elliott's horse in the Bob Ollinger colours? Oh, I forgot it. Last year.
Jerry Cullen.
Yeah.
Jerry Cullen.
come about 4 lengths behind, and I just think he absolutely battered him at Christmas. Now he's getting older, sort of as the season progressed, did it take it out of him a bit? I know he was electric.
Hang on, you froze, Joe.
He got there, seemed to get there. Should improve a fair bit, you know, the way they were talking, and there's going to be others in there. I wouldn't write him off, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's the same as the year before. I wouldn't be piling into any of them, really. I think it'll be very interesting to see what routes they take. I can't see Willie Pett sort of matching them up against each other, but I'd love to see the sort of targets they have for them throughout the season, and will they maybe take the album photo route with Gallopin and maybe give him a slightly easier season and put Factor File in, you know, the sort of the main man shoes all season. You just don't know, do you?
I think he's going to go down in history as one of the greatest we've ever seen, and I think he's going to win another one.
I think, do you know what? I hope you're right, because it's always brilliant for the sport, but I just think if I
go through the market real quick, I mean, it's not a Cheltenham show, but his next one, he's got a 7-2 Galloping the Champ, and you've got Fast or Slow. Factor Foul 4-1, Fast or Slow 12-1, Jericho Long 12-1, and then you're talking Grey Dawnings and all these sort of horses. Spillane's Tower. These aren't Gold Cup winning horses, are they? I don't think. What do you think, Rich?
No.
I mean, it'll be some achievement if he does, but I mean, he ran in every single race he could last year, didn't he? Surely that's got to put some miles on the clock. I mean, like you say, I can see.
He has his rest at Punchestown, doesn't he?
I can see Willie maybe giving him that break now with Factor File. Maybe they'll throw Factor File the majority of the race just to get him that sort of experience. Maybe just save Galloping for the Gold Cup, but it'll be some achievement if he does. But yeah, I don't know. Everyone was saying Factor File is the next Gold Cup horse, so maybe it'll be the passing of the baton.
I think it'll be album photo-esque, maybe 2 runs for Galloping, and then.
What about Braveman's Game? Could be easier.
Oh, for God's sake! Here we go again. I forgot about him then. Braveman, what price is he? I have to keep going all the way to the bottom.
I'll pick Royal Pagaille.
He's not even in list. Oh my God, Rich!
When he wins the Charlie Hall,
he's 100-1. Braveman's Game is 100-1.
Have a couple of quid, because when he wins the Charlie Hall and then wins the King George,
no, not a chance.
I think he's had his chance. He's had his chance. I think Shishkin would have been, God rest his soul. I still can't believe that, to be honest. Now I'm thinking back. I think he'd have won that.
Anytime his name's mentioned, that clash with Energumene was absolutely unbelievable. I think that is the best race I've watched in terms of a proper battle of 2 classy horses. That was unbelievable.
That's what happens when we get horses going against each other, which hopefully we'll have more of. What a good race.
In handicaps, yeah.
Race. But we shall see, lads. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great. There's not really much else to talk on. Like I say, we'll get stuck into the weekend previews as we go, and there'll be plenty more to talk about. What we're going to do then in the last couple of little bits, just maybe a couple of horses to follow. Have you got any lads, any horses you'd like, maybe a couple each that you've been thinking of for this season to follow? Go on, I'll let you do. You go first, Rich. Do one, and then Joe, and then I'll go, and then we'll go around again.
Yeah, there's a couple. The first one I'm going to mention is a horse that we saw today.
No, we haven't spoken. We haven't spoken about any of this. If you're going to say one that, go on then. What is it?
No, he's going to say Gamesters.
No, it's going to have to be Jaguar for me.
I
just think that horse is built for a fence. I mean, we saw him today. He's bigger than he was last year. And
did you speak to Josh today?
Yeah, we spoke to him. Yeah.
Did you say what about him? Chasing, or what is it?
I don't think we mentioned Jaguar to him, but yeah, I mean, he's grown. He's built for a fence. I think he's rated 119. I think. I just
Is it
think.
that low?
Yeah, I think he's something like that. I think he's way better than that. I think he's got some in hand. So yeah, I think he'll win a couple of races over the big fences. And
It's actually rated 118.
118. He's got to be better than 118 over a fence, just because of the size of him. But yeah,
We said a lot, didn't we, last year about it. He was a young horse coming over from France. It might take him 12, 18 months to acclimatise anyway.
Yeah, I think it's just whether or not he's mentally developed. I mean, he was a very babyish over hurdles, wasn't he? He didn't really respect them at all. So
I mean, he jumped some of them like he didn't have a clue what they were.
So hopefully, been a big boy, a fence will just calm him down and bring out the best of him. Like I say, he's got to be better than 118, in my opinion.
It's got to be, Annie. I think if he gets a chase under his belt, he'll come on for that. It's got to do, Annie. Joe, have you got one you want to throw out there?
I'll give. Are we doing more than one, or are we just doing one?
Can I do one, then I'll do one, then we'll go around again, and then you can say any more.
I'll keep it in the G and G sort of mood. Then I'll go Gamesters Guy, my big ginger friend. We all seen his debut. He won pretty gutsy at Utoxeter. The other horse was on the opposite side of the track, which wouldn't have suited at all. First time out, didn't really know his job, but stuck his head out and won. He won 2 out of 3 bumpers, and I think he just didn't get the credit he deserved, to be honest. And then, after hearing some of the comments today and the amount of people that mentioned him, and mentally the way he's grew up, he seems a lot calmer, a lot more, confident in himself, and he's grew a lot as well. I just think he's another massive improver. I think a step up in trip, soft ground, hurdles, should see him improve massively. And to be fair, he's one that doesn't really need to improve after winning 2 out of 3 bumpers. What more can you ask from a horse at any level? So I think he's definitely one to follow, and because he's ginger as well, it makes him even better.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about him last season. I'm looking forward to him as well. I mean, everyone probably knows when I'm going to go for Gentleman Bill's my first one. Obviously, we've got to get a green, all and grey one in there each. I mean, you guys managed to go today. Unfortunately, I couldn't get off work, which was very frustrating. But sounds like you've had a cracking day, and there'll be some videos posted up later on throughout the week and stuff that these lads have been in talk to the guys at the yard. So that's fantastic. Yeah, Gentleman Bill, I really like him, not just because of the name, but he won his bumper really well. He's obviously a point-to-pointer, coming over, go over hurdles. I'm looking forward to seeing him get on this season. So keep an eye on him. And all 3 of them, I think, are going to go well this year. I really do. So hopefully that's the case. Go on then, Joe, give us another one, or give us whatever you've got left.
I'll give you one from Rebecca Menzies. I went a couple of weeks back, and they were waxing lyrical about an unraced horse called Swinging on the Steel. We seen him sort of have a slow canter. Rebecca gives sort of, like an update when they were running around the ring of who's who. And he got cantering very nicely, slowly, and wasn't pulling at all. Then they went a bit faster, and he was just on it. He was sitting second. And she mentioned there was a couple of sort of yardsticks in the yards who they'd sort of ran him against, galloped him against, and he hadn't pressed any major buttons. And he'd sort of worked all over them, really. Seems to know his job. And I will be watching out for that one this season. And one more I will give is fingers crossed, and I'm hoping so. He's already been mentioned. He's a sort of favourite of mine, is Margeborough. I really hope he does go chasing. I know it will be a big ask because, he's clearly a very talented horse, and you don't want to sort of bottom him out and ruin him so earlier on in his career, but I just think he's made for a fence. Everything seems to happen a lot slower over a fence too, so I don't think it'll sort of hinder him massively. I think they might take it slow and gain him a lot of experience, like Factifile. We had Daryl Jacob on last year when he said, didn't he, don't give up on Factifile. They've sort of nursed him here in his first race when he got beat, and look how he ended the season. I think they might take that route, and I'm hoping they do. So my 3 were Gamesters Guy, Swing on the Steel, and Margeborough.
Love it. Take it away, Rich.
Do I put him up? I was contemplating mentioning like Langadan as a horse to follow.
You Wow, winding it
Wow.
up right now. That's
Wow,
got to
Rich.
be a joke.
Wow.
I mean,
He's a
if you think
graded
about
horse now.
if you think about it, he's not going to get plotted for a Coral Cup again, is he? So they're going to have to train him like a group horse. I mean, he ran
He's
pretty
going for
well.
Turners.
Apparently, he's going up. They're attempting to go up to 3 miles. Maybe the stayers could topple James's Tahupu. That'd be a story.
What baffles me, right? We'll just quickly mention Langadam, but he obviously won the Coral Cup off 144. 2 runs later, he's 160.
That's what I mean.
He
What
was
that?
the biggest. You
What
talk
a
about
joke.
graded horse and handicap. But then I always think, imagine having a horse that you know is that good and
Good.
like keeping him under wraps like that all the time. I mean, it's
How do you
crazy.
not let the secret out either? After every run, straight face saying, "Oh
And
yeah,
he would have won 3. It was Galloping the Shop beat him, didn't he? A couple of years
Yeah.
back before
That's
that,
what-
he would have had 3, and it's like chuffing.
How can you sit there and say, yeah, he had a nosebleed. Yeah, he had a nosebleed. Oh, he had another nosebleed. Cheltenham comes, handbrake off.
He's 160. He's rated 160. That's mad. That. But like you said, I mean, to be fair, stayers, yeah. I think why not go for something like that? 2-3 mile. He probably gets it just about. Yeah, why not? Why not? You got what else? Finlanger Dan. If he wins at Cheltenham, it'll be mental. I mean, whatever race he goes for, we've got to back him, haven't we?
I mean,
Just in
he'll
case.
be prime. He'll be prime for whatever race he goes to.
But I think a lot of people are joking, obviously, aren't they? We are waiting for him to come out and say, "Oh, Langadan's going to go chasing." He has four chases out the back at telly, fumbling over them, and then comes to new 2.5 mile handicap chase, and he absolutely bolts up. That'd be funny.
On that, my last one will be Impere Pass for Mullins. Obviously, he beat Langadan. I think it was at Aintree. Was it? Was that the race?
Yeah, the little bit controversial race, wasn't it, for a couple of people?
Controversial where he cut up and
he didn't cut him. He were already way ahead. He were way ahead. Good race,
But,
though.
I mean,
really good race. What was it? Oh, it was Langadan, Imperial Pass, and
Bob,
it was Bob
wasn't it?
Wanger, wasn't it?
Bob
Sorry, yeah,
Wanger.
you're right, yeah. That was a good race.
I think they're going to Novice chasing, are they? I think that's the plan.
Potentially, yeah, probably.
I mean,
stepping up in trip, do you think, or down?
No, I think Arkle personally.
I think that's probably right, to be honest.
I'd have said Turner's, but it's not there anymore. So, so yeah,
Put them against each other, make them. It's just going to be Willie Mullins 8 runners, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think he's a good horse. He won the Ballymore against Gaelic Warrior, who finally got his Cheltenham redemption. One of my favourites. So, yeah, I think Novice chasing. I think he'll be winning those sorts of decent races over in Ireland and probably win the Arkle as well.
And that's right. I mean, you look at how well Imperial Pass won that Ballymore or whatever it's called now, Gallagher now, and you think it took him ages really to get back to sort of the winning thread, didn't it? At a decent level. I'm hoping nothing similar happens to like the Ballyburn. He obviously won that easy as you like. It'd be interesting to see how they kick on. Obviously going into open company unless they go chasing, obviously. But
do you remember the talk about Imperial Pass? He'd won 2-0.
Yeah, well,
it's the model kingdom. And then all of a sudden, Ruby Walsh come out and went, "This lad's serious." And I think he went off 4. It was a bit like Fact to File, wasn't it? He was about 7-4 the week before and went off 4-6. He was the unknown, beat the model kingdom. And then he just tore them all apart.
And then
it's going to be interesting. You what?
And then Tupu beat him last year.
And Tupu, yeah. Good old Tupu. Tupu. Yeah, he wins the stayers again. I mean, 10-1. We were on 10-1 last year. It was my best bet at week. And it was just a thing of beauty. But, yeah, exciting times. My other couple were a horse called Handstands for Ben Porter. Quite like that one. They're on about going novice chasing. He was unbeaten in 4 runs up before the Ballymore. Didn't really run much race, but I think he'd had quite a lot of racing up to that point. And I think in a couple of the stable tours, I've always mentioned chasing for him. So I'll be looking, keeping an eye on him because I think he's a very talented horse. And the other one, I've got to throw him in, Tishan this weekend, Persian War. I think he's going to win that. And then he'll be looking at something like the Challow as well after that. One of them sort of Nichols hot pots that kind of mops up everything over here and then goes and gets beat in Summit at Cheltenham. That's kind of what they normally do. So I'll be saying that's something similar. You would get it like, was it Hermes LM was one of them? There's another one. who won everything over here and then just gets absolutely trounced in the Ballymore. But we'll see how he goes. But yeah,
Do you
T-Shan for
think,
me. I quite like him.
do you think the good ground at Chepstow might?
Is it currently good ground? Is it?
Well, I don't think there's a lot of rain. Josh mentioned today that I don't think Chepstow's getting a lot of rain. I think it's good
No,
to
it's
soft
not.
at the minute. So if they get
I
a
think
dry,
if it
a
stays
dry
good
wind,
to soft, I don't think it'll be a issue.
T-Shan needs heavy.
Didn't we have a
heavy
Didn't we have a
4 mile.
deluge of rain last year? You what? Sorry, Joe.
I said I think T-Shan needs 4 mile heavy.
we'll
Oh,
we'll make an
see.
assumption closer to time during Thursdays.
Put it this way, Nichols will have him bang on for Persian War. He loves that race. Yeah, he's won it like 5 out of the last 10 or so. 5 out of the last 11 times he's won it. So we know he does well at Chepstow. Although he had about 3 or 4 winners, I think, last year, which is obviously a pretty decent strike rate. But yeah, Chepstow's one of the meetings where just keeping out on the winners. I mean, obviously, Chianti Classico won at the meeting last year and went on to win at the Cheltenham Festival. So it's one of them, just keeping out for who wins the handicap chases, things like that, because it's obviously a good meeting. And hopefully they don't get... I'm sure they had loads of rain last year. I'm sure they did,
Yeah,
if I
they
remember
did.
correctly. And it
Down.
were like heavy as all, and we're all thinking, chuffing, hell, here we go. But hopefully it stays decent.
It
and they
was
get the background.
good to soft in places officially last year.
I don't mind that. If it could tick over to soft, it'd be bang on. It'd be perfect racing ground.
Sedgefield was good to soft last week. That was bloody heavy. Do you remember that? Let's Go Joe running round there, kicking mud up all over. And Sedgefield is saying it's good to soft ground. The horses are sinking.
Yes, they need to be on. They need to be on the ball with these ground conditions and things. Because there's been a lot of flat meetings where it's like, oh, it's good to firm, and it's like, you can tell it.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens during jump season. Hopefully they're on the ball with it, on the ticker with it. So yeah, there's a few horses to follow from the lads, so keep an eye out on those. We'll track them throughout the season anyway, and probably do something later on down the line. Right then, lads, we're going to finish on one big prediction each. It could be something positive or negative, whatever you want. I'm going to go to you first, Joe. What's something you think is going to happen this season or not happen, whichever way you've gone with it?
What I think's going to happen this season? I think that Irocco will win the Grand National. I've said that without laughing. That's my prediction.
I mean, it's his target, or so they say.
Yep, and I'll give one. I'll give one more as well. I think Nick. What can I say? I think.
Come on, I want to keep it under an hour.
Sorry, I think it's pretty wild, but I think Galloping de Champs will not come in the top 3 at Cheltenham Gold Cup next season.
Tasty. Go on then, Rich.
Well, I think mine's got to be.
It doesn't have to be Cheltenham, by the way. It can be anything.
The handicap.
No.
The handicap.
Oh yeah, I bet Willie Mullins wins the Turner's handicap. And
I
don't think it's the Turner's handicap, by the way. I don't think that's what it's going to be.
Whatever it's called.
It's called the James Woods betting handicap.
I mean, we might be able to get a decent price on something.
It's called another handicap at Cheltenham.
There's nothing worse than losing your money at Cheltenham and you want a lump on something next race and it's 1 to 2 on. You think
rather than a 20 runner field and a 50 to 1 bolt scene.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
give me that. Give me some of that. Yeah.
I don't. I'll go. I don't think Ballyburn won the Arkle or the Browns.
Fair prediction.
That's a fair one. Yeah. I was going to go something away from Cheltenham. I think I'm going to go for the King George, and I think this Ile Francais, this French horse, will not even get round.
Agreed.
Madness.
Agreed.
Don't get me wrong. It was a very good jumper in that race that he won at Kempton last year, but for me, the form's no. He's won over some races. That race after that, where he was just completely bombed out. I know it's not for me at all. It's currently in a favourite.
Willie James.
I'd rather back something like a fast or slow if he turns up in there. I mean, I won't back out till day because it's one of them.
Only back fast or slow in Ireland.
If it comes over a King George, it could do a King George though. I think it'd probably suit him. Speed off the front sort of thing. He's a bit of a faster horse, isn't he? A lot of people say they're going a lot closer in Gold Cup, but he fell, didn't he?
I will never ever forget that time on the podcast when Fast or Slow was 50-1, James, and me and you were on, and I joked that I had a tip for Fast or Slow to win in Ireland, and he went and won.
Yeah, I went, what's your tip? Then he went, fast or slow? I went, nah, I'm only joking. Bolted up, double figures. Oh, dear. Well, anyway, lads, it's going to be a fantastic season, I think. We're going to get stuck into it week in, week out. Cheltenham show, previews, guests, hopefully. Hopefully we'll get loads of people putting the comments in and getting involved in the chats and things. Every show is going to be live, so apart from the Cheltenham show, if we get a guest on, we normally have to record it. So if we don't get a guest, we'll do it live, but we'll see. And yeah, hopefully we can, everyone will keep subscribing and we'll get those subscribers up. We've got a pretty big couple of goals we want to try and hit this season. And hopefully that's the case and we'll just enjoy it. So any final words, lads, before we shoot off?
Yeah, don't forget your hacked up discount.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. I put the hacked up. If you hacked up racing, obviously do all the best gear. FYI, this is not. We aren't getting anything for this. It's complete. We don't get anything for no commission or out like that. It's not a paid advert. I know people kick off with stuff like that, but hacked up racing is the best place to get all your racing gear for me. I've had mugs, socks, the lot off them, and they were kind enough to give us a 20% discount code. So you just use that. It's final 20, and you can get 20% off anything you want there. So make sure you use that. And support him because it's one guy on his own. He does a brilliant job and it's fantastic gear. So yeah, well done, Rich, for mentioning that one. Anything else you'd like to say, lads?
No, let's
before we kick the season off.
No, let's get stuck into it.
GSI. Joe?
I would say, yeah, get everything up there. Follow us. You know, the support does help. I can't wait now. I feel like someone's put some batteries in me now. The jumps is back alive.
Are you going to get a base, Joe, eventually? Because the last podcast you've been in a hotel, in your car. You just hear that everywhere.
The travelling man.
Fridays I'll be in Barcelona.
Life of Ryan.
Yeah, like I say, we'll see. The podcast should be brilliant this jump season, so I cannot wait.
Yeah, just make sure you follow us all on Twitter. The show will be obviously on YouTube. It's been on Twitter as well, and it'll be on. I'll stick it on Spotify as well. So if you're listening in the car and stuff, you should be able to get it on there. And as I always say, subscribe to the channel and keep supporting the boys, and hopefully we'll have a right good laugh. And we'll leave it at there, lads. So catch you all later. See you all Thursday night, 7:45 ish. We're normally a little bit later than that, but we'll get on and get the Chepstow. Yeah, and we'll get the Chepstow meeting preview, and hopefully we'll find some nice winners to kick off the season. Right, lads. See you all later. See you Thursday, and thank you all for listening. Goodbye.
See you later.
Bye.